Deuces.
Okay. The title of my PowerPoint is Be Careful Little Eyes. Many children go to the movies, and watch whatever. The parents usually, see what the movie's about, but not necessarily dig into what it really is about. So in today's society, films are no longer accurately rated, and meaning a movie might contain more inappropriate content than parents want their children to see, which is why parents need to take the initiative to really dig into what the movie's about before they let their child see it. With a lighter rating, children are allowed to go see movies that they really should not be seeing until they have matured. Parents need to see that children must be careful with their little eyes. Films should be more accurately monitored by parents because violent, reckless, and sexual content from incorrectly rated movies can negatively affect children. Just a little history about it. The terms rated R, PG-13, PG, G, and I know there's X and XXX and all this other stuff. We're not going to get into that. They're all measures of the offensive and immoral behaviors contained within a movie. G is one of the lightest ratings, and basically means it's a kid movie. You don't have to worry about your kids seeing that. There's no language, there's no vulgarity in it or anything. R is one of the strongest. X is even stronger, but focusing on rated R movies like Her and American Hustle, which are very famous ones, they have explicit content, vulgar language, nudity, and so on and so forth. It's just they're not meant for children, and sometimes children are able to see them, whether it's at home or at the movie theater. The reason there is debate over this topic is because there are children taking guns into schools, taking hostages into malls, murder rates are up within big cities, teenage pregnancies out the wazoo, and drug usage has become a big problem. Violence in movies has become very common. A lot of movies these days are action movies, and with action movies comes guns and blood and all this other stuff, and it's what people love to see, but it's not really what you want your children to see. According to the article, Does Violent Movies Make Violent Children by Faith McClellan, media exposure correlates most strongly with an intention to use violence. McClellan makes a good point in that not just films, but media in general. TV or television, radio shows, anything can result in people using violence more often than not. Films should be considered one of the stronger types of media that contributes to aggression, because films are what children and teenagers who play with guns, take guns to school, malls, and other public places are being negatively influenced by. A simple scenario like this is what runs through children's mind when watching action movies. Violence being viewed by children should not be acceptable for parents until the child is at a mature age. When children are at the age of 13, 14, they may like action films, but it's not really what they need to be seeing. I can remember being at school and this teenage boy would be like, "I'm a ninja and hit me." That's not really what you want your child to learn. And so it's better to watch those types of films at an older age. Recklessness is also common in movies now. In the article, Exposure to X-Rated Movies and Adolescent Sexual and Contraceptive-Related Attitudes and Behaviors, Gina Wingwood states, exposure to sexual explicit movies impact adolescent sexual attitudes and behaviors. Doing drugs, selling drugs, having sex, discussing sex, aggressive behaviors, and on back to violence are all considered reckless and can be seen in many films. It's kind of similar to violence, but recklessness is a whole other point. Recklessness can be anything from jumping off buildings, just for the fun of it, bungee jumping, anything like that, or, even doing some type of light violence action scene where, the hero wins by killing their enemy. Well, the child might think, if I kill my enemy, then, I can be a hero. So that's part of, recklessness, that they might also follow in those reckless footsteps. Many situations like that are in films that children can see. Wingwood also discussed how risky and sexual behaviors can be found after seeing or hearing similar behaviors from media. Movies can include reckless actions and sexual content, which can create new types of behaviors, feelings, and emotions in children, which can lead to children trying to do the same type of acts. Sexual activities in movies. The Birds and the Bees is without a doubt an enjoyable topic to talk about, of course. And though many teens do not learn about sex by their parents, countless numbers of young people learn about sexual activities after they've already begun them. According to Richard Potts in the article Parental Guidance, a content analysis of MPAA motion picture rating justifications, content studies indicate 90% of motion pictures contain some verbal or behavioral sexual content. Not necessarily 100%, but that's definitely a large amount, not being 90%. An abundance of movies contain content which arouses young teens to have sex before they actually learn about it, and the consequences that come with having it. Potts also states frequent viewers of TV programs with sexual content were twice as likely to initiate sexual intercourse. Twice as possible is such a large amount. Again, back to the teenage pregnancy. So many teens these days are getting pregnant and having kids when they're kids themselves. And sexual activities or content in general in movies is not helping that. Some counter-arguments. Many films have explicit content and can affect children. However, some people would argue that movies are simply movies and nothing more. I know some parents do feel that movies are just movies and they can't hurt a kid. But it's like in real life. If you see somebody do something wrong, you learn from that. You can take in that wrongness, I guess, and portray that action. Some parents do not care what their children watch, and others do. Parents who carefully decide what their children can and cannot watch need to help make others aware of what their children could honestly be watching and learning. They also can try to address those who rate these inappropriate films, so a film that is incorrectly rated PG-13 is not seen by a 13-year-old or younger. Why is this problem so important? This problem resonates throughout the entire world because there are new movies being made every day. Films affect children here and children worldwide by the negative aspects they can learn from them. Again, back to what children and adults learn from movies. You can learn all sorts of things by watching it and acting it out. Children can learn good morals from many movies, but if that movie contains violence, recklessness, and sexual activities, that will not be the only thing they learn. In today's society, there is more abuse, teenage pregnancy, rebellious acts, and generally more violence than ever before among the nation. These are now very common problems in America can be helped if parents would be more aware of what their children are watching. Parents should look closer into what movies children are watching because violent, reckless, and sexual activities and behaviors can be learned from them. The next time a film comes out in theater or plays on TV, try reading what it's about, not just letting the child watch it. Really see what the movie's about before they get to see it. That way you know what they're actually seeing. From there, decide if that's what children should be seeing and learning. Just as the children's song goes, oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. You need to be careful what your children watch.
Minutes and 44 seconds.